guys, we are going to continue working on measurement. This week we are going to be talking about the customary system. So just like the metric system, the customary system measures length, weight, and capacity. The customary system is used a lot in the United States. Today we are going to specifically be talking about using the customary system to measure length. Remember, length is how long something is. So the shortest unit, or the smallest unit we're going to be talking about, is an inch. An inch is about the length of a paper clip. You've also seen an inch measured on a ruler. So an inch is not very long, it's about the length of a paper clip. The next unit is a foot. So a foot is as long as a ruler. So if you can picture having a ruler in your hand, if I had one at home right now, I wish I could show you, but picture having a ruler in your hand. A ruler is exactly a foot. Now you'll probably notice, or you have noticed, there are 12 inches on a ruler. That is because there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So a foot is the length of a ruler. If you lined up 3 rulers next to each other, or 3 feet next to each other, you would have the length of a yard. So a yard equals 3 feet. The yard is about, or a yard is about how wide your fridge is, or if you held your arms out like a bird, and you went from your fingertip to your fingertip, that would be about a yard. A yard is 3 feet, 36 inches. And the biggest unit, or the longest unit we're going to be talking about, is a mile. A mile is if you were by Lewis Drug, or really any business on Main Street, and you went all the way to Taco John's, that would be about a mile. If you went on a walk for about 20 or 25 minutes, you'd probably walk about a mile. And that is the longest unit. So the smallest unit is an inch. It's about the length of a paper clip. The next biggest is a foot. That is the length of a ruler. The next unit is a yard. That's about how wide your fridge is. And the longest unit we're going to talk about is a mile. And again, that's about from Lewis Drug in Chamberlain all the way to Taco John's by the interstate. You'll see I have this table up here that tells you the conversions, like 1 foot is 12 inches, 1 yard is 3 feet, and so forth. If you want to pause this video and write that table down, it will help you with your assignment. When we get to conversions, this will help you a lot. Eventually you will have all of these memorized, but while we're learning and while we're doing those conversions and focusing on the conversions, if you would copy this table down, it would help you a ton. All right, so let's zero in and focus on inches. Again, inches are about as long as a paper clip. Things you could measure in inches. Maybe a piece of paper. A lot of the times when you're typing an assignment or you're going to print something, it will tell you that it needs to be an 8-inch by 11-inch piece of paper. So that's an example of something you can measure in paper. Another would be newborn babies. So if you have a little brother or a little sister or someone you know just had a baby, a lot of the times they'll measure the baby's length in inches. TV screens, if you went to the store, a lot of the times they will have like a 32-inch screen or a 46 or 48-inch screen. Those screens are measured in inches. You could have an inch-long screw, and tablet screens and phone screens are also measured using inches. About the length of a paper clip. The next unit we're going to talk about is a foot. So here's our ruler here. Remember, a foot is the length of a ruler. It is also equal to 12 inches. Things you would measure in feet: the height of a door, the length of your car, the height of a child or an adult. So if you went to the doctor and they measured your height, which is how tall you are, they would probably tell you it in feet. For example, I am 5 feet, 10 inches. And a fishing pole. A lot of the times they'll tell you how long the fishing rod is in feet. Remember, 12 inches in 1 foot. It's about the length, it is the length of a ruler. Focusing on a yard. So 3 feet in 1 yard. Picture 3 rulers lined up side by side, and that is a yard. You've also probably seen a yardstick. So a yard is as long as a yardstick or close to an arrow. So if you've seen a bow and arrow is usually about a yard. Things you would measure in yards could be your backyard, how long a school bus is, a room, so your kitchen, your bedroom, your living room. We could measure our classroom using yards. A football field, and even with football stats, like if someone had a 40-yard field goal, that would obviously be measured in yards, or a 60-yard touchdown run, obviously measured in yards. Soccer as well, or fabric for a blanket. If you're going to need fabric for something, a lot of the times that is measured in yards. So remember, 3 feet equals 1 yard. The last unit we are going to use or talk about is a mile. 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. So a mile could be about the length of a field, a cornfield or a bean field if you've ever driven by or seen one of those, which I'm sure all of you have. That could be about the length of a field. A lot of times they will use miles to measure how long of a distance on a road you need to go. If you go on the highway or the interstate, a lot of the times you will see signs that say a town is 20 miles away or 30 miles away. Also, if you've ever heard of this saying, a country neighbor, that's kind of an old saying, but if you live in the country and you're kind of by someone, they'll call you a country neighbor. Those are usually about a mile apart or a couple miles apart. All right, now we're going to talk about conversions. So this is kind of the confusing part of measuring and measurement. So if you feel stuck or you feel confused, make sure you let your mom or dad know so you don't get overwhelmed and frustrated. They can let me know and we can get some extra help, or we can change some things around for you. As you can see, I put this table up here because that will help you so much when you are doing conversions. Because you will need to know how many of one measurement equals another measurement. So we're going to look at this table down here first. So in one column I have feet, and in one column I have inches. If you can think really hard, remember how many inches are in 1 foot. Remember, a foot is the length of a ruler, and there are how many inches on a ruler? 12. Good. So if I had 2 feet or 2 groups of 12, I would have 24. So if I had 3 feet, how many inches would that be? Well, I have to take 3 times 12 because there are 12 inches in 1 foot and I have 3 feet. So 12 times 3, it would give me, let me see if it'll let me draw on here, please. It's not going to, so I'll have to X out and type. Okay, so 3 feet would equal 36 inches. Here they give me the total amount of inches, and I have to convert it into feet. Now, convert means change. So if you're doing conversions, you're changing the measurements from one unit to another. So I have 48 inches, and I need to figure out how many feet are in 48 inches. So I'm going to take my total amount of inches, which is 48, and I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide 48 by 12. Why do you think I'm dividing 48 by 12? If you think it's because there are 12 inches in 1 foot, you are correct. I have to divide 48 by 12 to find out how many groups of 12 I have, or how many feet I have in that amount of inches. So 48 divided by 12 gives me, I hope you said 4. There are 4 feet in 48 inches. Here we have 5 feet, so they're asking, if I have 5 feet, how many inches do I have? So going from 5 feet to how many inches? I'm going to have to multiply 5 times what? Good, 12, because there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So 5 times 12 gives me 60. So if they give you the amount of feet and you have to find out how many inches there are, you're going to have to multiply because you are figuring out how many groups of 12. So if I have 2 feet, I have to take 2 times 12 to figure out how many inches that is. However, if you're going from inches to feet, you're going to have to divide because they're giving you the total amount of inches and they're asking how many groups of 12 or how many feet are there in that amount. So now we're going to look at this table up here. We have yards and feet. So this table comes in handy when you have to figure out, oh, how many feet are in 1 yard? There are 3 feet in 1 yard. So if I have 3 yards, I have 9 feet. Because for each one of those yards, there are 3 feet, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now, if I have 5 yards, how many feet do I have? Well, I have 5 groups of 3, because there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So I have to take 5 times 3 to get 15. So again, if you're going from yards to feet, you're going to have to multiply because you're figuring out groups. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. However, now I have to go from feet to yards. So if I have 21 feet, I'm going to have to divide to figure out how many yards there are. What am I going to divide by? Well, if you said 3 feet, you are correct because 21 feet total divided by 3 feet in each yard gives me 7. So again, we're taking the total amount of feet, 21, and dividing 21 by 3 because there are 3 feet in a yard, and that gives me 7. Oops, I don't want to do that. Okay. Here they say 10 yards. So how many feet are in 10 yards? You're going to have to multiply. So I have 10 yards total. I know there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So I have 10 groups of 3. I know that 10 times 3 is 30. All right, we're going to look at this last table here. We have yards and inches. So we talked about there are 3 feet in 1 yard, but that also means that there are 36 inches in 1 yard. Because there are 12 inches in 1 foot, there are 3 feet in a yard. 12 times 3 gives us 36. So if we have 2 yards, what are we going to do to find out how many inches that is? We are going to multiply it by 36 because there are 36 inches in 1 yard. So if we have 2 yards, I know that 36 times 2 is, can you do that in your head real quick? 72. Okay, but here we have to find out how many yards are in 108 inches. Again, if we're going from the smaller unit to the bigger unit, we're going to have to divide. So they're giving us the total amount of inches, which is 108, and I have to divide that by 36 because there are 36 inches in 1 yard. So 108 divided by 36. See if you can do it in your head really quick. 3. There are 108 inches in 3 yards. Okay, so now we have to decide how many inches there are if we have 4 yards. I'm going from my bigger unit to my smaller unit. Yards are bigger than inches, so I'm going to have to multiply. So I have 4 yards, or 4 groups of 36, because there are 36 inches in 1 yard. So 4 times 36, see if you can do it in your head quick. It is 144. Again, this can be confusing and overwhelming. So if you're confused and overwhelmed, let mom or dad know. They can help you with it, or they can let me know and I can get you some extra help with it. Conversions can be really hard and really tough. So this will help you a ton. And again, if you're going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, and what I mean by that is like the bigger unit here is feet, because feet are longer than inches. So I'm going from a bigger unit, feet, to a smaller unit, inches. When you're going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, you're gonna have to multiply. So if they give me the amount of feet, I'm going to have to multiply to get the amount of inches, because feet are bigger than inches. And it is the exact opposite if you're going from a smaller unit, like inches are the smaller unit. If they give me the amount of inches, I'm going to have to divide to find the amount of feet. So if you're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, you're going to have to divide. All right, the last thing you guys wanted to hear, we're going to do some more conversions. So 2 feet, 6 inches. Now we did this with the metric system. When they give us 2 units and we have to convert it into 1. So they give me 2 feet, 6 inches. They want the answer in inches. So I have to ask myself, if I have 2 feet, how many inches is that? Well, I can use my conversion table. 1 foot is 12 inches. So 12 times 2 is 24. And then I just add my 6 inches because that's obviously already in inches. And I get 30 inches. 15 yards, 2 feet. So again, I have to find out how many, and they want the answer in feet. I have to find out how many feet are in 15 yards. So I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard, and I have 15. So I'm going to have to multiply 3 times 15, and I get 45. So 15 yards equals 45 feet, and then I just add my 2 onto that because that's already measured using feet. And I'm going to get 47 feet. Again, I have 7 yards and 2 feet, and holy buckets, they want the answer in inches. So what I'm first going to have to do is convert these to feet. I'm going to have to convert these yards to feet. So if I have 7 yards, I know that I have 7 times 3. I know that I have 21 feet. Plus my 2 feet, so now I have 23 feet. So if I have 23 feet, how am I going to divide that or figure out how many inches that is? So I'm going from a bigger unit, I'm going from feet to inches, so I'm going to have to do what? Multiply. If I have 23 feet, I'm going to have to take 23 times how many inches are on a foot? 12. To get 276. So again, we were going from a bigger unit over here. We were going from feet to inches, so we have to multiply. All right, last one. 2 yards, 3 feet equals how many feet? I need to change my units of yards over to feet. So I have 2 yards. There are 3 feet in 1 yard, so I know that 2 yards equals 6 feet, plus my 3 feet already that I have in feet, so that is 9. So 6 plus my 3 is 9 feet. All right, awesome. Okay, that is all. Now I'm going to go over your assignment really quick, just so you guys know what to do for each slide. It's not too long. Here, which benchmark can you use for each measurement? So about what is the length of a baseball bat? What is about the width or how wide a baseball cap or a bottle cap is? Distance if you walked 20 miles, length of a football. So you need to decide which unit of measurement would be about the length of each of these, and you can just drag it there. Okay. Circle the best estimate. So remember, estimates aren't exact answers. The length of a purse is about 11 feet or 11 inches. Think about your mom's purse or your grandma's purse or your sister's purse. Is it 11 feet or 11 inches? I'm going to guess that's about 11 inches or about a foot long. Again, distance ran at about 30 miles. Which one sounds more accurate? All right, this is what we did on our PowerPoint. If I have 1 foot, how many inches do I have? 12, right. If I have 3 feet, how many inches do I have? Remember, if we're going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, we're going to multiply. Bigger unit, I know that a foot is longer than an inch, so feet is my bigger unit. Going to a smaller unit, I'm going to have to multiply. And yards, feet. Same here, if you're going from a bigger unit, which is yards, to a smaller unit, feet, you're going to have to multiply. Here you're going from yards to inches. So keep in mind there are 12 inches in a foot. There are 3 feet in a yard, which means there are 36 inches in 1 yard. All right, here you're kind of doing the same thing. I'm just typing 2 feet equals 12 inches. No way. 2 feet equals 24 inches. You're doing some conversions there. Now, they're breaking, this slide should almost come before this one. Yeah. So 2 feet, 7 inches. They're asking you to break it up to get it all in that unit, which is what you already did in your head, or what we were doing in our head earlier. So if I have 2 feet, I have to decide how many inches are in 2 feet. How many inches are in 2 feet? I know there are 24 inches in 2 feet. I don't need to change my 7 over because it's already in inches and it's down here. So 2 feet equals 24 inches. 7 inches equals 7 inches. 24 plus 7 is going to give me 31. So for this answer here, you have to type it in. You can't drag it. All right, so that is going to be your assignment. I hope it doesn't take you too long. If you need help, make sure you ask mom or dad. And if you need more help, I can get you some more videos and some more help as well. All right, so that is all I have for you. Again, if you want to write this down on a piece of paper so you have it when you're completing this assignment, it may help you out a ton. And that is it.